Bitcoin has seen a fantastic rally toward the upside upon breaking out of the critical levels of resistance at 106.9 and that weekly downtrending diagonal trend line. Upon the breakout of this level, we have seen Bitcoin rally into its next high time frame resistance located at 110,000, the point of which we are currently retesting. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the short-term rally, the short-term price action, the probabilities of continuations upwards, and even the impact this rally has had on the macro charts. We'll also be diving into the total cryptocurrency market cap and total altcoin market cap in today's video. Before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, just pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, you can also join us on Telegram. This is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. And if you are interested in taking your trading to the next level, you can join us in VIP. To do that, click the pinned comment of the free channel, contact our admin, check out our 52+ month trading track record, or watch a 10-minute video showing you inside the channel. You'll get access to our main trading channel and a variety of different group chats with over 700 members. Check it out, we'd love to have you in there. Let's dive into the content. So as we can see, guys, Bitcoin has had a fantastic move toward the upside, and I guess the big question is this enough now to confirm we are going to go higher? Are we moving to new all-time highs? Or are we still going to see a short-term pullback? And I guess the simple answer to that is, now that we have broken through that major level at 106.9 and the weekly downtrend, the probabilities are now shifting massively in favor of macro continuations upwards and the possibility of corrections as a consequence to what was a developing bearish divergence, and the risk of the loss of the 62.09 is beginning to massively diminish. So the favors are beginning to look much more in favor of directional continuations upwards. Alongside this, we are also seeing the breakout on the total cryptocurrency market cap, signifying again that the market is primed for that directional continuation, and the altcoin market breaking through that prior higher low, and of course, or should I say lower high, and of course 859 billion. So we'll discuss all of this in today's video, but overall a fantastic move for Bitcoin. And as we have been discussing on this channel now for 2 to 3 weeks, we've been saying the break of 106.9 is what is needed for Bitcoin to commence that next leg to 110. Now that move happened very quickly. It actually happened overnight in Australia time, but if you were able to catch that breakout, catch that rally upwards, congratulations. Let's start on our market data for today. 24-hour volume is up 88%. That is pretty expected with massive moves in the market. We're sitting at just over 250 billion. Liquidations up 338% at 422 million, 65 million coming from longs and 350 million coming from short positions. Moving over to the DXY chart over here, we can see the DXY is still moving slightly toward the downside. We have got some major economic news events coming up very shortly. Of course, tomorrow we have got CPI data, and of course on the 12th, so the day after, we have got our producer price index. And then of course on the 19th, we have got our interest rate decision, and shortly after, we have got the Federal Reserve press conference. Both of these events are going to be of mass importance to the market. As we know, the market will massively rally if we do see, number one, any interest rate cut. At the moment, the probabilities are not in favor of that. But number two, during the press conference, any sort of words that, I guess, go to shine some optimism on either earlier interest rate cuts than expected, the Federal Reserve having more clarity in the future economic climate, which will in turn translate to they're more willing to cut interest rates sooner. Or number three, they are looking to cut at a more aggressive rate. Any sort of speech that results in interpretations of those sorts will result in the market running upwards, again, front running that. As we know, interest rate cuts are massively bullish on the macro scale for risk assets. So the future is potentially bright over here. Let's jump over to the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has managed to sustain above 6,000. A very good sign. Of course, 6,000 is going to be that short-term level of support that we are going to need to sustain above to rally back into these highs over here. Provided we remain above 6,000, there is little downside risk over here. If we do lose 6,000, then we run the risk of this being deviation for a correction back to the 50 EMA. But until then, again, provided 6,000 holds, the expectation is going to be higher. So overall, still looking solid. It does appear to be the market is more or less waiting for that CPI data to come out before making any sort of substantial move. So it is wise to watch how that develops. That is it, guys. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. Like we mentioned, we're going to be taking a look at short term. We're taking a look at this $100,000 resistance range. We're taking a look at the breakout and the subsequent rally toward the upside. We're also taking a look at the total cryptocurrency and altcoin market, as the total cryptocurrency market has broken out of its major downtrend, but the altcoin market is coming up now to retest that baseline of the Ichimoku cloud, and of course, jumping over to the weekly. So before we get into that, make sure to go ahead and sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, or BingX, the exchange links down below. You'll get a lifetime trading fee discount of 15%, which can build up to 45% based on your trading volume. You'll go to support me making the content, and most importantly, you'll support yourself trading on exchanges I use and I trust. Check it out, guys. We'll play an ad and we'll jump right back into it. If you are looking for a new exchange or just want to support the channel, sign up to BitUnix with the link down below. You'll get a lifetime trading fee discount of 15%, which can build up to 45% based on your trading volume, as well as access to a bonus reward center, and of course, all of the exclusive campaigns we run on this exchange. You'll also get access to BitUnix being a non-KYC exchange, meaning you can sign up from anywhere in the globe without regulations. And most importantly, I only promote exchanges I trust and I use. As you can see, I trade on BitUnix very regularly, being the highest VIP level with over $500 million in trading volume for the last 30 days. And lastly, if you were interested in signing up to our other two exchanges, BingX or BitGet, you can also do that via the links down below. You as well will get the 15% trading fee discount and everything else that comes with it. Go ahead and sign up. Thank you for supporting. Let's jump back in. Okay, legends, let's get right back into it. So by far and large, the most significant macro impact this breakout has had is, number one, the potential invalidation of those risk factors which were in play. Now, prior to the break of 106.9, we were, of course, at risk of a loss of the 62.09 in the RSI, which we discussed numerous times, that a weekly close below the 62.09 would confirm a correction for Bitcoin. We also discussed that the weekly close below 104.4, which is the weekly range high, would validate this move as deviation, which could increase the probability of a correction. Now, all of this was a risk factor. It was never in play, and it is still not in play. It was only in play when we got the weekly close below the weekly range high or the weekly RSI. Now, we also mentioned that for us to decrease the probability of any of those events from playing out, and for Bitcoin to move up to its next resistance at 110, the major point we needed to break through was 106.9. We have seen the strong reaction in the price action following the breakout of 106.9. We have gone almost vertically into our next resistance at 110,000, which we can start to see now some short-term profit taking and selling pressure beginning to develop. So, in terms of macro consequences, the biggest impact this move has had is that it has reduced the probability for a weekly close underneath the range high and a weekly close under the 62.09. The reason it has done that is because this level of resistance is now being flipped into an area of major support, and for any of those bearish events to occur, whether it be the 62.09 breakdown or the weekly range high breakdown, this level is now acting as a high time frame support, which will need to be lost before any of those events can occur. So what we've done is we've essentially built up and put this massive safety net in place for the market where we could go down and retest and still be in a relatively healthy position on the macro scale. Now, when we're looking at potential moves to new all-time highs, we need to, of course, see a breakthrough this last level of resistance. You can almost consider this the last level of resistance before new all-time highs for Bitcoin, and of course, for us to see that next leg toward the upside. So we'll come back and discuss this in just a second. But I want to go over to the total cryptocurrency market cap right now, as we have seen a fantastic breakout of the total cryptocurrency market cap. Now, this downtrending weekly trend line represented by the diagonal trend line, you can see here, has obviously broken toward the upside over the past 24 hours. This, of course, is a great sign for the cryptocurrency market cap. And as we mentioned, for us to see that breakout, we had to have seen Bitcoin break through 106.9. So that happened more or less in conjunction with another, conjunction with each other, should I say. With the breakout of the total cryptocurrency market cap, we've also seen the altcoin market cap break through its prior lower high over here, which of course was sitting just under 860 billion. And we said that a breakthrough in this region would result in about a 10% rally for altcoins into the next level of resistance, which is going to be the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud. Now, as we can see here, both the altcoin market cap and Bitcoin is sitting at a short-term resistance, and this is going to be the 110 and the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud. So we know that the market has done a fantastic rally up, and now we are touching a level of resistance where profit taking is likely to take place. But it's important to note the macro context is still going to be bullish, provided we remain above 106.9. No matter what happens, even if we see a short-term pullback, that macro trajectory is still going to be relatively bullish. Again, the only risk factors that could make this chart bearish holds in this prior weekly range high. If we come back down and close a weekly candle below this weekly high, that is when we run the risk of steeper corrections. If we take a look at how the price action has responded over the course of the last 2 years, ever since we've created these major consolidation periods, whether it be, I'm going to go ahead and draw it out over here, the horizontal consolidation right over here, whether it be the macro descending channel formation right over here, the commonality between all of these scenarios is that when we have broken through the range high of the consolidation, so in this instance, the range high of the consolidation, in this instance, the range high of the consolidation, in this instance here, the range high of the consolidation, upon the breakout of that range high, we have subsequently also broken through the 62.09 on the RSI. But here's the important thing. After that has happened, in the prior two scenarios, we have seen expansionary moves toward the upside, which did not result in the price coming back and closing underneath the range high of the consolidation pattern. Therefore, if we do see that, that would be a massive warning sign and potentially damaging to the macro uptrend. But thankfully, we have avoided that and we are sitting above, and therefore that expansionary pattern, or what we have seen in the past, is very likely still in play, provided we remain above 62.09. So that is why that weekly range high has a degree of significance. So let's take a look. We have 6 days until the weekly close. The 6-day period is going to be very important because we do need to close the weekly candle above the range high again. Ideally, the best close is going to be above even these prior highs on the weekly, sitting at 108.9, 109,000. That would be the ideal spot to close. But at bare minimum, we do want to be closing above that 106.9 level on the weekly. Moving over to the short-term charts, guys, no doubt the price is definitely bullish here. And if we are able to break through to 110, our higher time frame targets do come in play. And of course, as you've been following the channel, we know our higher time frame targets, we're looking 115, we're looking 121. So we do have the potential to move up to 115, 121 for Bitcoin if we do break through as a resistance. But this, of course, is going to be the level we do need to clear to facilitate those next legs toward the upside. So let's talk about those next legs and let's talk about the short-term price action. So this is the hourly chart, guys. You can see here, we have come back up and retested a point of resistance. Now, this resistance is of some degree significant. If we take a look at our prior price action, we had a horizontal consolidation between the prices of about 110,500 to around 106,900. So that range low and that range high, we've come back up to now retest that range high. So as we can see, we have had prior rejections from this point, which has resulted in corrections back to the range low. So we know that this area is a area of significance. It's an area of pretty major resistance that we're going to need to break above. So If we see corrections from here, short-term pullbacks, they have to be considered acceptable and expected, right? They will be expected. They're not going to be shocking to see if we see profit taking from this region, potentially back down to the 50 EMA, potentially back down to our breakout structure, 108,000. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that if we look at the higher time frame, particularly in the weekly, we are able to sustain above that major level of support we have broken through, which is 106.9k region. If we do that, the weekly close will likely be bullish and we will likely see continuations upwards and through. That is it, guys. We're going to keep today's video nice and short and sharp. There really isn't too much to talk about here for Bitcoin. Again, we have seen a fantastic rally. The major thing is that as a consequence of this move, it has altered the probabilities for what is likely to occur on the weekly chart. And as we know, with that weekly breakout now in the RSI, the potential for that bearish divergence and thus the breakdown of 62.09, resulting in the deviation set up from developing, has massively diminished, which thus increases the likelihood or for the opposite direction toward the upside. So a fantastic move for Bitcoin, which has profound macro impacts. Short term, we are likely going to see some sort of mean reversion. It's very rare we see these massive moves. Look at the massive move down, we saw mean reversion. It's very rare that we see these massive moves and we just see direct continuation. It is more likely we see some degree of profit taking, potentially back to 108.5, 108.6, before we then establish a new support and then continue upwards. Again, with the total cryptocurrency market cap pushing toward the upside, we do have that support at 3.33 trillion. Which we would like to see hold. And of course, if we're zooming out to the weekly chart, we do see the weekly is of course also breaking through these weekly highs, which poses the potential for that RSI to be tested again, or that RSI to run up to retest that point. And if we do retest that point, we do have the potential to have a macro positive momentum shift, which will initiate that next leg up for the broader cryptocurrency market. Really quickly to finish up on the altcoin market, the altcoin market is looking pretty decent right now. We have seen a nice rally through that prior high. Ideally, provided we remain above this high, which is sitting at around, or should I say is lower high over here, sitting at around 108, or should I say 856 billion, we are going to be expecting continuation. So even if we see pullbacks, continuations are expected. If we break through the baseline, we're just going to see continuations almost immediately. So that is going to be a good sign. I think a lot of altcoins are positioning for reversals, particularly on the higher time frame. Some altcoins have already done so, but it does look like the altcoin market is starting to heat up. So the future is definitely bright. And I'll say the same thing as I said before. If we drop back below this high, we do run the risk of corrections again. So above here, looking bullish. Above here, the next leg starts. Below this point as well, we go back into a downtrend. So overall, guys, looking fantastic. Great to see the market develop like this. There is also one more thing we are watching, which is this uptrend in the RSI. I do not think we're very close to breaking this down, but we can see already that if we do have a degree of selling pressure develop over here, we might see that momentum spill back down, which could result in that correction to 108, as we mentioned, which would just literally take us down to that 50 EMA as discussed on the small time was at the 30-minute chart, potentially into that 50 EMA on the 30 over here, which would be about $108,000 area as an area of support. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll catch you in the next video. We'll see you then tomorrow. We'll do an Ethereum update. We'll see you then.